Greetings, my name's John Pedersen. I'm superintendent at the new Underwood School. Right before we started filming today, I was informed by the students that we have 30 days of school left. Did you know that?
No.
30.
That's awesome.
Can't believe it. It's March 30th and we have 30 days left. My special guest today is Mrs. Jensen. Mrs. Jensen is our music teacher. Welcome.
That's right. Thanks for having me.
You know, let's start out, because one of my intentions for filming at your school is to show the public who we are, to show the public a little bit about the different personalities, whether that be students or adults, that we have in our school system. And of course, a lot of people know you because you went to school here. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we want to talk about if we have time.
Okay.
But Delayna, why don't you start out and just share with us a little bit about who you are and about you and your family.
Okay. Yep. I went to high school here proudly. I'm a proud graduate of New Underwood High School. I went here 9th through 12th grade. And I was involved in choir and cheerleading and basketball, and I graduated from about the same size of class as they do now. There's 28 of us. I met my husband here. We were high school sweethearts. And I went K-8 to a one-room schoolhouse out in Meade County. My folks had one of the largest ranches in Meade County, and so I grew up and spent most of my first 18 years on a horse and fixing fence and cooking for combiners and running machinery and all that. So
Where at Meade County?
Hereford.
Yeah, I know where that, north of here.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, about 35 miles north. And we were actually given a choice. There's 7 of us. I'm the youngest. And we were given the choice whether to go to Sturgis or New Underwood. And my oldest sister, who's 14 years older, went here to New Underwood. All my other siblings went to Sturgis, and I wanted to come here because I like the small school atmosphere, and I'm glad I did.
Now, you mentioned riding horses to
Yeah.
school. It seems like I read an article in the Rapid City Journal a few years ago where it's quite common for the students in
First
Hereford
year.
to
We
ride-
started it.
to ride
Yeah.
horses to
I mean, I
school.
like to think we started it, but it was
Yeah.
probably started before I was there. But first year of school first day of school every year, we ride
Yeah.
horseback
Yeah.
to school. One year a cameraman came with us,
Okay.
and we may or may not have messed with his horse on
Mhm.
the way to school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That's a
You
story
know,
for another day.
we've got 10 minutes.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things I want to cover. One would be this. You are a first-year teacher.
Mm-hmm.
What have you experienced? I was a first-year teacher, but it was decades ago. What's it like to be a first-year teacher?
Yeah. This is my first year here.
Yeah, right.
Yep. My 4th year teaching, but this is my first year here, and this is my first year as a K-12, in a K-12 position, and that's, my biggest challenge this year has been probably switching from when I have kindergarten and then 6th grade and then 3rd grade, and then all of a sudden I have high schoolers again. So I have to put on my young elementary hat, and then I have to really quick take it off and put on my high school hat. So that has been a new skill that have learned this year. I love it though. I love that I get a chance to work with elementary students and high school students and everybody in between.
You know, you and I have talked about this, Delayna, that it's a real challenge in a smaller school where you have to have not only choir, the chorus, but you also have the band. And in most schools, they're fortunate enough to have a separate director for chorus and a separate director for band. That's got to be a challenge to have K through 12 chorus, and then also, does band start in 5th grade?
Yes.
And then also to have the band 5th through 12th grade.
It is.
Keeps you busy.
It does. Thankfully, scheduling works really well so far. It's a good schedule, so I do get to meet individually with my 5th and 6th grade band students, and that helps the program a lot.
Now, let's go back, because I guess I was assuming that this was your first year of teaching, and I do remember a long time ago. I guess you told me you taught before. Tell us about your other educational teaching experiences.
Absolutely, yep. I got to, before I graduated, I did my first year of internship in Central High School and West Middle School in Rapid City. And then when I graduated, there weren't very many openings. So I spent that first fall at Dakota Middle School in a long-term sub position. And then that spring, right before I had my son, I I was a substitute here and in Rapid City. So, and then after that, I spent 2 years out in Meade County. I was a traveling music teacher out there, K-8.
Anning, Union
Yeah.
Center,
Elm Springs,
Elm Springs.
Hereford, where I
Okay.
went, yep.
Okay. You mentioned that you were, now this is really a loaded question. You mentioned that you were in Rapid City Central,
Yeah,
which I think is the largest high school
Yes.
in the state.
yes.
And then you were in New Underwood. We're certainly not the smallest, but we're
Mm-hmm.
small. What's the difference in the two schools?
You know, going here as a student, I used to think, you know, we go to contests and such, and I used to think, oh, you know, Central's here, they're gonna be perfect, and, you know, they do all this. And then working there, I realized there's still the same type of students. There's still the same teachers, you know, you still have teachers that care about you. Yes, there are a lot more students there, but I wish I could kind of go back as a student and see that they're really, it's all the same music. There's the same notes, there's the same, you know, just because they're a larger school doesn't mean that they necessarily have more.
Delayna, there has to be teachers on staff right now that were your teachers when you were here.
Yeah,
What's that like?
it's really hard to call them by their first name. It's like at meetings, I still want to say, Mr. Finkbeiner. So he was my basketball coach and teacher.
How about, no, I was gonna say elementary, but you were at Hereford in
Yeah.
elementary, so it was just high school there. Okay, let's move over then, because, you know, again, it's a challenge in a small school, because we have fewer students, and so we're all competing for students to be a part of our programs, whether that be drama, whether that be athletics, or whether that be music.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, what are the challenges for you in a small school to build up your chorus and your band programs?
I think sometimes, as with any school, it can be a challenge to show the relevance and the importance of the music program and why it's built into our day and why it's not an after-school or extra activity. But thankfully here, I've received a lot of support from the other staff as well. You know, Mr. Finkbeiner and Mr. Nelson and Mrs. Albers, they've all been super supportive of the music program and everybody on staff. You know, we know as a small school there we have to give and take, and so far it hasn't been a problem, I don't think. No.
Okay. Now, do you have goals in the music program? The band program?
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about
we
goals.
We talked right away. Our goal is to be the best band in the land.
Okay.
That's our goal, and we work on it through practice and progress. We talk a lot about. I don't expect my students to be perfect, but I expect them to show progress from week to week and numbers. So we're shouting how cool it is to be in band and choir, and we're going to build our numbers too.
Now share a little bit about some of the things that you've done. I know you play at a lot of events, and I remember 2-3 weeks ago we were having trouble finding transportation. But talk a little bit about some of the things you're trying to do to promote your program.
Absolutely. I'm looking to get out a little bit more with our high school band and choirs. We just went to BH with our band. We were invited to play pep band up at the college at a college game. So we got to go do that. And upcoming, we have our contests at the end of the month, and our concert, of course. The choir, we went over and sang a Valentine's Day set here right before Valentine's Day at the nursing home. All a cappella, which was great for our group. And so yeah, we're trying to get out a little bit more in our community and to do a little bit more traveling.
Now, you've got a program coming up, the
We do.
music program.
Yeah.
Let's talk, do you remember the date? And
April 23rd.
April
Yeah,
23rd.
it's 7.
And tell us a little bit about what is going to be on the agenda there for that program.
It is a K-12 Pops concert, and something that I don't think has been done in a few years, but we're combining all grades. So if a student is in the school and they're in music, they're going to be in that concert. And it's a Pops concert, so lighter things. It doesn't mean they're easier, but pieces that you hear on the radio. or you've heard on the radio a few decades ago.
Okay.
The band's working on a really great collage. The choir's singing Beatles, so.
You
it's
said a
really
few
good.
decades, it must pertain to me, a few decades ago? Huh?
I think there's something for everybody,
Okay.
so,
Good.
yeah,
It sounds like a neat program.
I know.
Delayna, we try to limit this to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think that we've just about accomplished that. So, you know, I want to thank you for all your efforts. I certainly respect your enthusiasm and your passion for music. So
you.
keep working hard and build the program.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.